Well, here we are again, folks. This is Brother Peter with tidbits from the Word. And I'm at a camp this week with about 46, 48 children with a bunch of real, loving helpers, about 15 people who have given their week this week to come out here and love a group of children and have a good time. And you know, I did a little excerpt a few minutes ago on love. Love is an expression that comes from God. His love was so great that He gave His Son. But you know, the evidence of love is joy. You can have joy in your heart if you have love, because you're not going to allow hatred to come and squeeze that love out. You can have joy in the middle of a crisis. Sometimes I do not do so good in the middle of a little bitty crisis. But when I have a huge, crunching crisis, a big thing on me, I'm singing and praying and drawing close to the Lord. And my wife sometimes says, she gets a little aggravated about this. She said, it's a funny thing. You fell apart in that little bitty crisis, but now here you are glued together and are able to walk through this thing with your head up high with joy in your life. And that's how we should be, no matter what happens. I say this one more time, and you may have never seen another one where I said this, but my sister was learning how to drive. I was sitting in the back seat of the car. She hit a taxi cab, broadside, totaled it. And the guy got out of the door on the other side. He walked around and looked in there and said, "You all right, young lady?" She said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, it looks like you just bought you a taxi cab." Just as calm and peaceful. And I wasn't saved until 20 or something years later than that. But I look back at that man as he had his heart full of love. Full of love. He was full of joy. His taxi cab just got destroyed. But he wasn't distraught. He just said, "You just bought you a taxi cab," so that was the end of that. And so that's the way it went. But these things we are to have if we're saved, if we're Christians. We're to have love. We're to have joy. We're to have peace in our heart, even if our taxi cab gets destroyed. We're to have peace in our heart. We're to have long suffering. What is long suffering? Long suffering is when you're dealing with a situation or a person that's not under your control, and you can't change it or do anything about it, and here it is, and you've just got to overlook. A disciple came to Jesus and said, "Jesus, how many times are we supposed to forgive this guy?" And Jesus said, 70 times 7. Wow, that's 490 times. But let's finish the verse. He said, in one day. In one day, 490 times? Can you put up with that kind of aggravation? Let me tell you what. A mother with a child that has a problem, that can't help that problem, and 490 times a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, she has to keep forgiving, loving that child, taking care of that child. And that's the way it goes. That's long suffering. Gentleness. Can you be gentle? Can you have gentleness? Can you be gentle, especially in a frustration situation? Can you be gentle? You need to be gentle. If you're not gentle, then I have a problem. You need to look at yourself, because gentleness is a thing. Can you be good in all situations? Do you have goodness portrayed in your life? Are you a good person in your life? Do you do good or do you do evil? Look at yourself from the inside out. And then the most important thing in this list is faith. If you'll have faith in God, that God will give you the temperance in your life that you need. I am sitting under a fan, and I think about it every now and then. This fan's wobbling like this. If this fan was screwed up tight and doing this, it could give away, break the temper of that metal and fall. But because it's loose, it can do that. Are you full of temperance? Do you have temperance in your life, in your faithful life? Faith, faith's what got us saved. I took, at the age of 30, God come down and spoke to me, and I took by faith. I said, Lord, I am a sinner. Forgive me of my sin, come in my heart and save my soul. And he did. And that was by faith. And then meekness. What is meekness? Meekness is not cowardly. That's not like putting your tail between your legs and scooching down like a dog, coward dog, and walking off. No. Meekness is being meek in all situations. Being careful in all situations. Carefulness is meekness. And don't be a coward, but be meek in a situation. You know the meekness that Jesus was talking about? He said if somebody smites you on the one side of the face, to turn your cheek and going to smite you on the other side. And I had a good friend one time. He had big old hands. He's still my friend too. He's right up the street from where I am right now. And he said, what would you do, Peter? So I smited you over there. I said, I'd turn my cheek. And he took that big old hand. And he was going to make like smite me, and he went too far, and he did smite me, knock me down. He said, well, I got up and I turned my other cheek. So, but anyway, in meekness, are you meek? Are you meek? Can you handle all things in meekness? You've got to handle all things in meekness. Now, temperance. Temperance. The first word in temperance. Temper, temper. Do you have a problem with a little quick temper? Do you have a problem with a little quick temper? Hey, if you're going to take your temper out on somebody, take it out on your own self. If you're going to take your temper out on somebody, stand in the mirror and take it out on your own self. See what it feels like. See what it feels like. Rave and rant and throw your hands up and act foolish and see what you look like. You look like a fool throwing a temper tantrum. My wife gets upset at me sometime because I take my hands off the steering wheel and put both hands up sometime. She said, you know that person in that mirror can see you. And I won't say any more there. But that's not a good action. That's not a good action. That's not an action of temperance. That even though it was kind of mildly done, it's an action of temper. And so, temperance. The Bible said have temperance in all things. Oh my goodness. Why do I not go to places where there are long lines to ride? My temperance is not very good in those situations. And I'm not going to put myself under that duress to ride a ride. I'm not going to stand an hour and 15 minutes in a line to ride a ride. I'm just not going to do it. And this thing called joy. What is joy? Joy is completeness in your life. Joy is happiness that is performed in your life without you doing anything. God puts that joy in there. It's happiness in your life. And if you have joy in your life, others will know that. They will pick up on that. They will see that. I have joy in my life, and I try my best to portray the joy in my life, even in the worst of times. Even when the gauntlet is down, have joy. Follow joy. Follow love, peace, follow joy. You know the story, laugh a little, love a little, the sky is always blue. Hey, you know some of I might be turned around upside down. I don't know. I might have been born backwards. But I love a storm. I love a storm. I have been accused of doing something that a lot of people wouldn't do. A persimmon tree, you can bend a persimmon tree down to the ground and it won't break. It is an agile tree. We had a storm one time a few years ago, and I just felt like doing something a little different. And I put me a bicycle helmet on, or a riding helmet on. I went out there and climbed that persimmon tree, and the wind was blowing about 60 miles an hour, and rain and lightning, and I'm in that persimmon tree swinging. I remember when I worked on a tugboat back in the 50s, and I used to climb the mast, and I used to ride the mast. We'd be in a storm, and I'd ride that mast 40 feet, woo, 40 feet back, woo, ride that mast on that tugboat. Wow. And I used to love doing that. And I still do, by the way. And if I wouldn't be accused of being foolish, I'd probably do it more often. Love, joy. We're talking about joy. We talked about love. Love bringeth forth joy, and love bringeth forth peace. And one of the biggest thrills in life, if you can get past your own self, and it takes God to do that. It takes God to do that. Do you want a thrill in life? I'm talking about riding a tree, riding a mast on a ship, doing something like that. You want a thrill in life? Look at your life through the eyes of God. If you have these 5 things in your life, love, peace, joy, these things in your life, you will have a thrill in your life. There's 8 of them. 8 of them is a number of a new beginning. I guess when you get through temperance, you're to the place of a new beginning. And that's the good thing there. So, love bringeth forth joy. Joy bringeth forth peace. Peace bringeth forth temperance. And that temperance is what we all need in our life. Well, this is Brother Peter with tidbits from the Word. We'll see you next time. Right. Bye-bye.